bit of trivia for you guys. If you Google various words, you can see how many pages that word exists on the internet. Right? This is something you can do, and Google tells you a page count. And so, what word, other than pronouns, obviously, like thee or I, what word do you think has the most pages, the highest results on Google? Can anybody guess?
No.
Sex?
No.
Love? Okay. Football? Okay, that's pretty high. Well, love. It is love. So bravo. And then it's followed. You remember? Tell us again. What's the hierarchy again? I know there.
Love, sex.
God is like third in there.
God is it's the fourth even.
Oh, the fourth. Okay.
Money.
That's right.
War also comes high. But love is.
Yeah, love is number one. Which that's a good place to start. In love, by the way, I mean I guess we're in a story that is all about like history and whatnot. The word love, you mentioned in the book as well, right? It comes from Sanskrit, from lubaya, which means to go mad. By the way, so what is love? We'll discuss that as well. What does it mean? But perhaps why don't we start before we get into something too broad? Perhaps we'll start with something interesting. Let's start with the sexual side for a second.
Okay.
Because you said there's a lot of sex here.
Oh.
So two questions. What is the link between, I guess, like love and chocolate? Let's start.
Okay, let's start.
Let's start with that, and then I've got another one. Yeah.
Okay, so during sexual intercourse, many hormones are secreted, are released in our body. So this is the mission that we came to do on Earth, to pass our genes to the next generation. So the brain and the body are rewarded by a lot of chemicals. One of them, it's called phenylethylamine, belongs to the happy chemicals, the happy amines, and it gives us a sensation, a feeling of euphoria, to see the bright side of things, pink glasses, and not to see the bad things. So chocolate, and also during sex and love, we get phenylethylamine during the orgasm mainly. The orgasm gives us a boost of this chemical, so we see the world better. So chocolate and sex is good for our health and the perspective of life. To see the world more brighter.
Cool. And actually, you mentioned in the book. Actually, right after orgasm, we often have prolactin, right, which makes us kind of sated, right?
Why you shut down? Let's talk first
about
the orgasm itself.
All right, let's talk about the good stuff.
And then we will inhibit it.
Okay, we'll talk about all the inhibitors as well. Because we'll talk about also the challenges of monogamy. This book, it's amazing because it has all the latest scientific research. And Liat is a biologist at the Weizmann Institute who understands the science and has done a lot of great research. So it's exciting. Okay, let's start with the good stuff. So why is, because you do say in the book that orgasms are a gift for the brain. This is something that you've said, and why is that? Why?
Yeah, so basically, so let's talk about some of the chemicals. So before the orgasm, we get a lot of testosterone, men and women, which make us more vital and feel energized. It's a very important hormone for our well-being. And also endorphins, which is the endogenous morphium, make us feel more relaxed, and painkiller, like pain relief. So we feel more relaxed. And during the orgasm, it's the highest boost of dopamine that the brain can get. Dopamine is the pleasure hormone, the motivation hormone. That's what may motivate us to seek for sex, or to seek for a partner, to be attracted to someone. So dopamine, serotonin, better than Cipralex and all the other SSRIs. Serotonin, the antidepressants, high amount of serotonin is secreted during orgasm, and oxytocin, which make the vibrations and the contractions of our organs, and gives us the feeling. That's also what induces
labor as well. Right?
Yeah, labor, breastfeeding, and orgasm, the highest secretion of oxytocin, which is the love hormone, the bonding, attachment. It makes us feel connected. That's why after a couple that just met in a date or wherever, two strangers become attached after making love, orgasm after orgasm after orgasm. The brain is conditioned. You want more of this person. You want to be with him. You want to stay with him, even to the point of addiction, which is falling in love. Infatuation is basically addiction. You want to get more of this dopamine and oxytocin, and you become attached to the person. And many areas in the brain are active during sexual intercourse and orgasm. And when the brain is so active, basically even when you fantasize about a sexual act, fantasizing switch on 70% of the neurons that will be active in the act itself are activated while you fantasize. We have a lot of the brain is our sex organ, is the real sex organ, the brain. So many brain areas are activated, and when the brain is so active, there is regeneration processes and repair, and the degradation is slowed. So a very good tip for long life of the brain is sex and crosswords puzzles. So you have to do both in order to keep the brain active, because cells of the immune system, glia cells, comes and repair our neurons. We have a lot of toxins in the brain that are being accumulated. So we need orgasms.
You mentioned that as fantasizing. Do you want to maybe explain for a sec?
Yes.
In the book?
So, and I should also mention that you don't need a partner for orgasm. Okay, it doesn't mean that you have to have a partner. You can do it yourself. So it's very good activity for the brain. And basically, when you watch porn, you get a very strong stimuli that the brain did not evolution. There is not enough time of evolution to become used to such a strong stimuli for the brain. So the level of dopamine is very, very high, which hijack the brain, abuse the brain, and you become addicted very easily to this strong stimuli. And you get less serotonin, less oxytocin. There is no oxytocin because there is no bonding. There is nothing there, just strangers in a movie. So it's basically a game of dopamine. High dopamine, cheap dopamine, we call it in biology. But the brain cannot stop, keep getting it. It's hijacking the original, natural processes of the brain, and it gets you such a strong stimuli that the brain is not accused to having, that addiction will become very easily. And the benefits of what we talk, we will not feel these benefits of feeling more relaxed and more satisfied with life. It's like leave you empty inside because it's strong dopamine. Everything that does it with dopamine, the dopaminergic system will make us feel empty. Cocaine, which is the substance that sugar, eating a lot of sugar, also bypassing the normal circuits of dopamine.
You mentioned sorry.
Can I just ask quickly to
Please,
that?
please interject.
Wouldn't
all
it be
means.
the same then if it's without the partner? Then wouldn't that be the same thing as watching porn? Like,
No, the porn is very, very strong. It's very strong stimuli. What I meant with we don't need a partner is fantasizing and touching the organs, of course, masturbating, but without this strong stimuli from outside, which especially more men watch porn than women. It's like 75% of the people who watch porn is men, and basically if you watch, this industry is becoming more and more aggressive because aggression in the male brain is combined with testosterone and the amygdala, the stress and aggression area of the brain. So you get a strong level of this dopamine, but without the benefits of the other things that we talk about. But when you fantasize, you won't fantasize this harsh scene. So mainly maybe you go on a date and then you will fantasize about the person and and that is the good,
And you also
the
the
benefit.
the act of using one's imagination apparently is a good exercise for the brain as well. When
Yes.
you fantasize, right? It's another thing that you don't get
Our
when you're passively.
imagination. The imagination, when we imaginate, 70% of the neurons.
Yeah.
It's like the brain
It's
don't know
almost
to.
like it's happening.
It's like what is real and what is not. For the brain, it's 70% real when you think about it, when you imagine it. So we have this amazing organ.
And it's actually it's interesting. You talk about in the book, and this is quite evident that how sexual we are. Something that I was quite surprised to discover is that most animals, they have very similar kind of sexual behavior to ours. Obviously, there's differences, and that goes into like monogamy and all types of different behaviors in the animal kingdom. What's interesting is it's quite rare for animals to have sex outside of ovulation. So usually, when the female is ovulating, that's when she kind of starts to get into heat, and and you have all these things, lordosis, which is there's all these things they do to kind of to court, but when they're not, usually if you look at most animals, in fact, can anyone guess another animal that likes to have sex outside of ovulation? Can anyone go through?
Elephants.
It's a good guess. Elephants are interesting. You do talk about elephants, how manic they are. Funny when they fall in love, they stay together for like 3 days, right? And manically, like like they don't eat and just kind of right.
Yes, they're together.
They stay together. Elephants are very interesting. They're amazing, but they don't. The women they don't do it outside of menstruation. I think also after a woman gives birth, she avoids for a while,
Yes,
right? While she's
yes,
rearing.
with the orangutan, it's like taking maybe 8 years until she wants another male.
With the orangutan, yeah.
Yeah, the
But
orangutan.
with the elephants, I think it's also a few
Yeah,
years
it's also a few years. Yes.
before, like, there's just no sex after having a kid. Which just goes back, this is another thing we talk about. These are the
What
inhibitors.
happens
There's a lot
with
of things
kids?
that inhibit interest in sex, and that's the prolactin, but we'll talk about that later. But there is one other animal, and I'll let you share.
The bonobos. Yeah. The
Anybody ever
small
heard of
chimpanzees.
bonobos?
Yeah, there are one species related to the chimpanzee. It's a chimpanzee, but it's smaller chimpanzee.
Called pygmy chimpanzees.
Yeah, pygmy, exactly. Pygmy chimpanzee. That they are a matriarchal society and they like to have sex for social interaction. It's like us. We make sexual intercourse for social interactions and to relax. And they are very homosexual. They have it with each other and
But bisexual, right?
bisexual,
Yes.
we can say. Yeah,
Yes.
bisexual. They use it to reduce stress, which is the effect of serotonin and all this great oxytocin, all these great chemicals. They reduce stress. So when the group is stressed by fighting and quarreling, so they make orgy and share food with each other in a method that will reduce the aggression in the group. Even when they meet with another group, they don't make wars like the common chimpanzee. They just make orgies all the time.
Interesting.
With everybody.
They're also unique in that they also will have sex in the missionary position as well,
Yes,
which
yes.
is not something you see typically in the
Yeah,
animal kingdom.
they want to see the eyes, which is very female, feminine. This is a matriarchal society, so they like to look eye to eye during the intercourse and copulation, and they like the baby sitting in the middle. Yeah, to be
Wow.
all the time with the baby. Very different than the
Yes, also-
other.
Also, there's another matriarchal society. There are a few, by the way, out
The
there.
hyena.
Yes, the hyenas. If people knew this, that there you have a flip. Maybe I'll let you share. Well, let's
Yeah,
go. I
the
like this
hyena.
matriarchal thing. Let's go with it.
It's another matriarchal society. The hyena, in the hyena, the females has more testosterone than the male. Also, they have an enlarged vagina. It makes them problems with pregnancy. But there, the whole social order is opposite. So there is an alpha female, and then the other females, and the males are submissive, very submissive to the female. Really, the opposite. But very interesting. In regular patriarchal society, who eats first? Usually, the male by their order. So the alpha eats most of the food, and then the others. and the kids get the leftovers. And in a matriarchal society, in the hyenas, the kids eat first. Kids first. So we can see it also in humans. When the society become more feminist, the status of the child will go up and up in society compared to patriarchal society. So it's very interesting. It's all about hormones basically, because it's not a male and female. It's testosterone and estrogen. This play between these two hormones. So.
It's amazing. Yes, testosterone being, the aggressive and selfish, and the oxytocin being the I guess basically the altruistic and bonding. Right?
Oxytocin also can be aggressive for out group.
Okay.
When you're on the Nionis and you come to her pups, any female that you come close to her pup will become aggressive. Protection, yes. Sure. And also we have another hormones of the oxytocin family, which is vasopressin. It's the male version of this bonding hormone, which make males more territorial and protecting of the female and the pups. So we see it in all mammalian kingdom, the oxytocin and vasopressin. But testosterone makes us more competitive and obsessive with the social status, more confident. In Caltech, they even show that you give people inhale of testosterone and let them do some tasks. You see more confidence and impulsive thinking. You want to be the first, you want to be, and you think you are always right, which is also in men. More confidence, and female like it. Yeah, we see all in nature, female are more attracted to the alpha male, to this guy that knows everything and very confident with himself, and not the epsilon guy, that is very shy or non-secure, insecure. And in Tinder, they showed in an experiment, in research on Tinder, that around approximately 10% of men get 90% of the messages from women, the approach from women. So we also have alpha males. And another, in OkCupid, I think they did it. They let the women grade the men in the website. Yeah, they let the women grade the men. And the women report they think that 80% of men were below average. So still, once the alpha male, like every other in the mammalian kingdom, we know all the attractions to the bad guys, narcissist, also narcissist women, but men has very strong charismatic, and narcissist has. And then you say, why the hell did I been with this guy? Some women told me in lectures that it made sense for them to understand the biology. And one woman told me that she was dating a very, very good guy. He was so good to her. And he, I bring the moon for you. So loving and caring and cherish her. And she said he was too good for me. I was not attracted to him. So it's very sad, but evolutionary, it makes sense. So we need to overcome it. That is my whole purpose in writing the book and talking about the subjects, because there is the biology. But once we understand the biology, we are the most really educated and intelligent creature on earth. We have this area, our forehead, the prefrontal cortex, that allows us to understand our instinct, our urges, how our emotions and how they drive our behaviors. But we are the only creature on earth that can overcome it, but only if we are conscious, because subconsciously, which is 95% of our behavior, is unconscious, and it's basically evolutionary. Basically nobody teaches us, but we feel this sensation and emotions, like why I'm attracted to him and not attracted to this guy, why after a while in a marriage or in a committed relationship you feel bored. But so when you don't know, when you don't understand, start to think about many reasons. Yeah, like maybe maybe it's not good for me, or other reason, but once you understand this is part of my biology, like any other mammal, I can overcome it and outsmart biology, because if not, biology always wins if we are not conscious.
If a woman feeling like the guy's too nice, right, and losing interest.
Don't be too nice. It's very important not to be too nice.
Too nice, at least not at the beginning, perhaps. But you also say in the book, it's interesting that when it
There
comes
is a
to
question that
oh,
my
sorry,
brother-
please, yeah, sure.
Questions actually.
Yeah.
One, don't you think that, like we are the fruit of our past? So okay, biology is the base, but what we lived, our traumas, how we grow up, like parents and the environment play a big part
Yes.
on who we are attracted to. And as well, I think it's a bit a stretch saying don't be a good guy. I think everybody
Yeah.
should be.
Not too good. I just said not
yeah,
to
but
be too
it's,
good.
it's just
Yeah.
sorry, but I don't
Be
think
good.
it's fair. I think everybody
Okay.
should be what they are.
She said, of
They
course you
want
should.
to be. It's
Of
a
course,
bit,
of course, she's saying you should be good, but she just say just to be aware, that like
Yeah, she's
to
right.
have balance. That's
Yeah.
all. But that's fair. That's fair. But yes, maybe you can talk. I mean, the book she talks about imprinting,
Yeah.
which is what happens when you're a child and how that affects you. Do you want to maybe?
Yeah,
Can
thank
talk
you
to
for
that?
mentioning it because it's very, very important. It's also biology. The thing is, it's also the biology. It's what is called epigenetic effects, modifications of the DNA by the environment. So we have our genes that we were born, and the genes that we were born are probably 500 million years of evolution of the nervous system. But afterwards, we have also our upbringing, the environment, the stimuli that we got, and hormonal mechanism works as follows. When you secrete more of the hormones, the brain expresses more receptors. So if I was licked and touched and hugged and cared for when I was born, when I was a child, so my brain grows more receptors for this love hormone, and I will grow up to be a woman that wants touch, wants to be loved, wants to be touched. Trauma affects the brain immensely. Trauma is basically high level of cortisol, stress hormone, and adrenaline, the stress hormones, which have a lot of effects on each cell in our body. There is a book now written in the body, that everything that we experience is written in our body and affects our choices and our behavior and our patterns of love and other emotions. Everything it affects. Everything that we experience affects us in life, and the imprinting period is the first year after we are born. Our parents, this is also a biological mechanism, imprinting the traits of the parent on the offspring. So the offspring will look for the parent all the time, because without the parent, especially the mother, but most 97% of females it's mother, but also of course of the male, of the father. So when you grow up, when you see someone that has the traits, maybe physical or emotional and the personality traits, it becomes you feel familiarity, you feel at home, you feel somebody that feels like home, and we see it all around. And usually, these relationships usually are more stable when people resemble to each other something familiar. The brain looks for familiarity. Not to be happy, not to feel good, not just to be to the familiar, because it's predictable. I know what to expect, for good or for bad. Like if I had abusive parents and I will look for abusive husband, abusive partner, and you ask yourself why she stays there. Yeah, it's obviously not good for them. But still, the brain looks for familiarity because it's predictable. I know to predict the behavior because I experienced it as a child. everything is, all this is not conscious. That's the problem. It's unconscious. You need to, maybe at the age of 40, you can look back and see, oh, now I understand why I had this relationship and this relationship. Sometimes you are not conscious at all. But only when you're conscious, you can cut the chain, yeah, and choose differently, yeah. Not to choose the same.
Question back there, yeah.
I want to say, how important is it for a man? Because my last relationship was with a female who had a lot of trauma, and that's when I really got more conscious into like abandonment issues and things like that. So how important would you say the effects of a man finding a partner without a female with less trauma?
Yes, it goes for both sexes, yes, for people with abandonment issues. Yes, they will need a lot of care. We know the attachment style theory, which basically, again, yeah, women tend to become more anxious. You know, what they saw in the attachment theory, John Bowlby, the wounds are the same. You know, abusive parents or neglecting parents, or you don't get enough oxytocin when you're born, like what the brain expects to get. So you grow up with the insecure attachment style, because you learn that the world is not caring, is not hugging you, is not secure. The world is not secure for you. So you develop these patterns to survive. It's basically survival mechanism. Females, it's basically testosterone and estrogen issue. Women tends to be more anxious attachments, which make a lot of tests. Do you love me? Do you really love me? Needs a lot of confirmation. Jealousy. There is high levels of jealousy, high levels of a lot of drama, because all the time checking if the relationship is real, because my experience was that nobody really loved me, and we tend to so usually anxious attachment styles needs a lot of care, a lot of attention and empathy, and also boundaries. And the other side is the other insecure attachment style is the avoidance, because I learned that the world, there is no love. They will usually say love is only interests, and you can love there is no real love in the world. Some things like this, because this was the experience in early age. Yeah, that I need to care for myself. Usually they said I need to care for myself. Nobody will care for me if I won't be. I need to be independent. But they need relationship. Everybody wants love. It's a universal need, essence of our. We need attachment. But the avoidant will make a relationship that is not emotionally strong. Yeah, so anytime if the other partner will go, I will be okay. Yeah, my heart will not break. We will meet. We will sleep together and do things together, but the emotional bond won't be strong. Usually, anxious and avoidance has this tragic attraction, which nobody gets its needs. The avoidant don't get what it needs, and because the anxious all the time wants to get more, and the anxious don't get his needs either. He wants emotional bond. He wants to be. The avoidant can't give him this. So they usually look for each other. The insecure, and the best thing is to look for a secure partner, the good guy. To look for the good guy, because only the good guy and the good girl will help us cure the wounds of childhood. Only they can help us.
And to work on yourself, obviously, in order to be able to be in a good place to find love, right?
Yeah, because there will not be a lot of drama in the relationship. Only a secure attachment style can hold on with the other insecure behaviors. He has confidence. He was raised properly. He had a lot of love and a lot of affection in childhood. So he grew up to be very confident. So we can change our attachment style. It's very important to not to be deterministic. It's not if I was in abusive family, so not to look just for people who had a good upbringing. We can change our attachment style, but we need to be very patient and conscious for our needs and our choices in life.
And everybody's aware of the whole fight or flight mechanism when we're in a scary situation, but apparently for women there's another kind of two responses often. Anyone ever heard of this? What the opposite of fight or flight is? No? Yes, very good. That's right. So fawn or freeze, yeah. Which is basically, do you want to explain that kind of, which is why perhaps sometimes women don't,
Yeah. We all do all of the strategies,
everybody
fight,
uses this,
flight, freeze, and fawn. It's like the four biological behavior that will be triggered by stress and trauma. But basically, it's a game of testosterone and estrogen again. In men, when they are stressed, testosterone level are increased, and it increases the adrenaline. Adrenaline is
it kind of accelerates you, it excites you.
Excites you, yeah. So fight or flight. If you can fight it, fight it. If not, just come back later. So it's testosterone and adrenaline. Stimuli.
And as The Body Keeps Score, I think is the book, the translation. Or think of later, The Body Keeps Score, very good book. Sorry.
Yeah, and in women, estrogen levels increases when we are in a state of stress, which trigger the freeze response. That is the reason behind the sexual harassment, like why you didn't scream, why you didn't run away, why you didn't do anything, which means maybe you had consent for this. So, but basically the body shuts down, and it's the most evolutionary common
Defense mechanism.
from females, actions of females, states of females to freeze and still protect the eggs when there is an enemy coming. So freeze, they become really.
It's like playing dead.
Play dead. Yeah, play dead. Wait for the other one to go, the enemy, and then they come back to care for the eggs or the pups. And fawn is to try to please and be submissive. So the aggression will be lowered. If I will be submissive, yes, whatever you want, I will do. To be very care for the other. And women tend to please their environment, not the men. The environment times 5 from five times more than men.
You mentioned there is this amazing thing that, like, as a defense mechanism, that tears. If you want to talk about what tears, what crying does.
Yeah, crying. Why do we cry, and why women cry more than men? So it's very interesting. There is a lab in Israel, in the Weizmann Institute, Noam Sobel. He's a professor. They asked for people that cries in movies. That used to cry in movies. There were many women and one man in the experiment. They took the tears. They let them see sad movies, and they took the tears into a tube, and they gave students in the other room to smell. Men student to smell the tears of a woman compared to a saline, water with salt. They didn't know what they smelled, but the smell of the tears of a woman lowered the level of testosterone in the blood of the male by 20%.
Wow.
It's amazing. So crying is not weakness, it's a superpower, evolutionary superpower, to lower aggression from the other side. Doesn't matter if it's male or female, but to lower aggression and to make the other be more empathic to me, not to attack me, but to be more empathic. That's why babies cry all the time, because they are exposed to aggression from adults in nature. adults won't be nice all the time for pups. They can kill them. So tears is a mechanism to also for the babies to lower aggression. But sometimes it gives you more aggression. It makes you more angry. Stop crying. But basically, this is the mechanisms of treatment. It's very, very, very healthy to cry. It's very good to cry. It helps us release emotions, to understand the emotions, and afterwards you feel very relieved after crying. So sadness is a great emotion. It helps us accept what we cannot change. So crying enables us to accept the reality that we cannot change. So it's very, very, very good to cry, especially trauma or if we have heartbreak or grief. It's very good to
as well, which you mentioned literally is dangerous for the heart, right? Do you want to kind of talk about that? How the heart is a brain, and actually.
Yeah, the brain has a small heart. When we said that we feel our heart breaking and a pain in the heart when somebody leaves us, or so it's real. Cardiomyopathy. The heart has a small brain of 40,000 neurons. The small brain of the heart, it is called, of the cardiac nervous system, and to be separate from someone when you breaking up is a major stressor for the body, because when we have partner, when we are in love, even if we are not anymore in the stage of the belly, the butterflies in the belly, just to be with a partner, it gives us a loss of oxytocin, and it makes us relax. And one day a person comes and said, I don't want to be with you anymore. So the stress for the body is very, very strong. It's like you won't get this relaxation anymore. Nobody to hug, nobody to kiss, nobody to talk to. So one day you become lonely, and loneliness is very harmful for our body. So when a person said that he breaks up with you, the body experiences a strong response of stress, and the heart is part of the stress response. So the brain of the heart sends messages of pain to the central brain. And when we said, I feel the heart breaking and the pain in the heart is real, so it's the pain stimuli. And also cells can die in the heart, and the heart changes shape. When we say that I have a hole in my heart, we have a song, I have a hole in my heart in your shape. It's real. So when we said that we have scratches from the past, this is a real scratch in the scar. No, we have scars from the past.
You mentioned the octopus trap. Okay.
Yeah, the takotsubo.
Yes, tell me about that.
Because it was first discovered in Japan, with Japanese researchers, a Japanese doctor that was treating a woman. They saw that women after menopause, the effect on the heart is very apparent, and he saw that the shape of the heart changes because of the scar, if the cells that dies in the heart. And he called it takotsubo because it resembles a octopus trap that they use in Japan, and this was the name. It's in the scientific literature, it's the broken heart syndrome. But the heart changed, the left is a
Ventricle.
yeah, it changes its shape because of this loss, and it can lead to heart attack, but if it's not treated and if you not take care of your heart. But this will happen only in rare cases, and if there is problem, so predisposition of the heart. But heartbreak is really painful. The main thing is that afterwards, when you meet another person, your heart remembers the pain. All the nervous system remember now that love is pain, love is hurtful, and you don't want to give your heart. We say this, I cannot give my heart again and open up my heart. It's real, because when you feel relaxed with oxytocin, the blood vessels extend, and the heart, you feel the heart open. And when you're stressed, there is contractions of the blood vessels, and you feel the heart closed. It's amazing that we say these things. And it's hard to open up the heart again, which means to trust someone, that he will be there all the time, and that to believe in love again after a heartbreak. So that's one of my tips, one of my recommendations is after a heartbreak, not to move on fast. Because when we move on fast because we want to fix things. We want to get back the dopamine, the serotonin, the oxytocin, somebody that will hug me, that will talk to me, because the brain is addicted to love, not to the person, but to the concept, and to be relaxed. So we sometimes tend to move on fast, too fast. There need to be a healing period, healing of the heart, and until we can trust people again. So we need to go over all the stages of grief, because it is grief. When somebody say I break up with you, it's compared to like it's dead. For me, he's not existent anymore. Yeah. So to feel the negative, we try to run away from negative feelings, but unless we give them space, and we stay with the pain, just a minute, not a minute, a longer period, to stay with the pain, to let the body heal from the wound. It is a wound in the heart, real wound, and then we can trust people again. So we need to go over this grief period, have this all fight, flight. Fight is usually be aggressive to the why you left me, and why you did this something to me, and maybe leave him nasty messages or tell other people how bad he is. This is the fight, to be very aggressive to people around us, because we are in a stress situation. Flight is trying to move on fast, to go, to put ourselves in work, working too hard, or being with people that we don't even want to be with them, just not to be home, just not to be alone 1 minute with our thoughts. Phone is trying to go back together, maybe we try again, maybe give me a chance. Now I know what I did wrong, and it's not good to try to please the person. Usually it doesn't last long. They go back together, and then it will break again. And freeze is not recommended. It can be for a few days, go to bed, put the blanket, and don't want to see anyone, don't want to go to work. This is grief. And it's okay if it's for a few days, I don't want to see anybody. I don't want to to go out. Just want to be alone, just want to be with myself, cry a lot. It's very good. But after 3 days, move on. Move on not to another person, but with the life. Not go back to places that we were together, because, the same restaurant, or places, now. And then you want to text him, maybe we try again, I miss you. I happen to be in the area where we met for the first time. Don't do that. Build a new routine, a totally new routine, and slowly, a lot of sun, a lot of dancing, music, it's doing good for the body, and meeting people, new people, but trying just to be with, not to start again, go on a date. A date is not good for the brain. It's a lot of anxiety. When you meet somebody new, it's like a work interview, job interview. So a lot of anxiety can be there. Slowly.
Shortcut, now that we understand it so well, biologically, to get that dopamine somehow, like, to simulate that thing.
Yeah.
There is
There is
shortcut.
no shortcut. no shortcut. And for each person, it will be different. Especially divorce. Divorce is the second major stressor for humans after grief, after losing someone that is dear to us. The second major stressor is divorce, because divorce also we have children, and they also have their own grief. It's not only a couple now; it's an issue of a family, and we get the guilt, and we feel a lot of shame. And because people that are divorced, like after 10 years of marriage, 20 years of marriage, they are so used to be with somebody that they want very fast to complete the bond, the family, and we need to grieve. We need to understand what we did wrong, what the other person to understand, because every crisis in life is an opportunity to learn things and to develop spiritually and biologically, and to say what really I want in the new relationship. How will I be different in a new relationship? How will I choose the partner now differently? Because I'm not the person that I was 20 years ago or 10 years ago. I'm a person, new person. The brain all the time is changing and developing. So only after we do this self-analysis and self-work, and sometimes we need help from outside. I don't think that sometimes. I think everybody needs help to see what traumatized me. It's trauma. To be divorced is a trauma. To have this heartbreak, and then because otherwise, and we see it all the time, you duplicate patterns. You recurrence. You live the same relationship over and over again. You pick again the same person, because if I won't change, I would still do the same.
This is why you said that if you want a good relationship, start with treating yourself.
Yes, that's what I all the time saying. That as work on my behavior, understand my attachment style, understand how I behave in a relationship, and how can I change this. We know that the strongest predictor for good relationship, for happy marriage or happy relationship, has nothing to do with the other person. The strongest predictor is the level of satisfaction of person from his own life. So if I feel good in my life, I have friends, I have a career, I have enough of all these happy chemicals that I need. I dance, I go to the beach, to the sun, to have a healthy, fulfilling life as individual. I will look at people differently. My heart will be open, because I believe that we can fall in love with anyone if we give it enough time. There is no the one, the person that has all the characteristics. It mainly depends on us. If I feel good with myself, especially, I have a self-esteem, self-confidence, I'm happy with my life, I'm not looking for my other half. There is no other half. There are two individuals that are a whole in themselves, and then you want to be with another person that is a whole in himself, and just have a journey together. But it's not my other half. I'm not break without him. I'm not not full, incomplete without the other person. And also when I'm satisfied with my life, I have less cortisol, stress hormone, which is level is high when we are not good.
Women naturally have double the amount of cortisol in their blood. So
that's why
which
we
is why
have
after
lower self-esteem.
And after an argument, it takes them a longer time to cool down, right?
You're so stressed out.
Well, I think it's also the levels of empathy there are. So we take on ourselves the problems of everybody. We take on us, so we tend to be more stressful. Yes.
Yeah, going back to the repeating patterns, like if you have an insecure attachment, obviously, ideally you find you you someone with a secure attachment, but oftentimes that isn't the case. And within yourself, you're just going to repeat the patterns of whatever insecure attachment that may be until you somehow gain a secure attachment. Now, I've read, like, with depression or things that lower serotonin and dopamine, that you can kind of fake it until you make it. If you smile, the physical act of smiling will make you feel happier. Are there similar sort of ways to positively manipulate your biology to start getting those happy chemicals in a way that mimics a secure attachment until you can learn to grow on yourself by repeating that same sort of positive behavior?
It's a great comment because biology drives behaviors, but behaviors drives also biology. So if I'm aware that I need to elevate my serotonin level and my oxytocin level and decrease the cortisol level, otherwise I will repeat life events. And so the natural ways to elevate these happy chemicals, and like fake it till you make it. If you don't feel like you want to go out and to see people or to have a physical activity, it's better to be at home, right? To be alone. I know to predict everything that happens because I know myself, so why to bother? But when you start and when you smile and when you go out, then you said, it's so good that I did it, yeah? You start to feel good once you start the behavior. The behavior releases the chemicals. So that's why it's very, very important to be physically active. The brain needs movement. If we won't move our body, the brain will start to create the depression chemicals. So a lot of physical activity. I said 1 hour of sun a day is the best remedy that we can get. The sun.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's harder
It's a
here.
challenge. Definitely a challenge.
But we
Once
think
a
that
month.
there is a cloudy day, there is no sun,
still
but
UV.
it's
Some
a hi Amat, still you make
It's
the
so rare.
vitamin D.
Also, there are those sad lamps that you
Yeah.
can get.
Yeah.
My doctor prescribed one to me, so I sit in front of it to mimic sunlight, and it does the same thing in the brain.
Yes,
Does it help?
to go out,
Immensely in the winter.
Very
To go
good,
for
very good
walks.
against seasonal affected
Yes.
depression.
to go for walks, to eat well, to bring to the body good food, good resources for the body, and also to dance. I repeat mentioning this recommendation because dancing helps you. It's good for the brain first. Because you learn new moves, so you need to repeat it, and it's very good. The brain is still very active and plastic. So dancing is also good for the oxytocin. You meet people; they're not your partners. They don't committed, and it's just humans dancing together. Music is so good for the brain. It releases oxytocin. So you go dancing, you move the body, you feel good, you are starting to trust people again, because you meet them in very good conditions. But book clubs, everywhere that we meet people, and I really believe that we should abolish dating apps or ban dating apps.
You mentioned the Skinner box. Do you want
Yes.
Yeah.
to talk about that?
Yeah.
What?
Because in the digital era, we get more heartbreaks and much, much less. And the heartbreak can be from someone that texts you and then ghosting. Ghosting. This some phenomena that we have because our brain is not used to meeting people this way, behaving. So we don't get enough oxytocin. We don't see the eyes of the person just texting, and I can text 5 people at the same time. I don't know them. It's not the original circuits that the brain needs to make. So, and it's commodifying humanity. Like you are another commodity that presents yourself in the app, and lie. 85% of people lie in their profile. Men more of their height, because women like tall men, or again testosterone, and women more about their weight. And age. Everybody cheat on their age. we in our mind we see ourselves younger than we see in the mirror. We feel that we are younger, so why not? She won't tell the difference, right? She don't know. There is the chronological age and the biological age. So I use my biological age, which is what I think about myself, and not the chronological age. And then you try to present the best. To market yourself in this basically meat market and compete with others all the time. So it's a lot of stress, and you know that he's texting with others and you are texting with others, but you cannot help it because of this Skinner.
Addiction.
It's addiction. Yeah, it gives you high level of dopamine because you see many beautiful people. Yes, and potentially, like in quantum physics, you can be with each one of them, but you will be with none. This is what really happens. In Netherlands, they did an experiment of how many profiles you need to switch, right? Swipe, right? In order to have one good relationship. And they came up with 36,000 profiles, which will take you 10 months to get to and even it's not committed relationship. It's like what you will call 1 month with a person, even not long life relationship.
But some people do. It can work, right?
It can work. You need to use it right. You need to use it right, not to go to give a chance. It's an opportunity to open up to increase the pool, because usually you meet the same people all the time in work and you go back home. So you want to enlarge the circle of people that you meet. So that I recommend not a date in a coffee shop, a date while walking, because when we walk, the eyes moves from side to side, and then when the eyes move, the amygdala activity is decreased. Amygdala is the stress area of the brain, the stress gland. So when you sit with somebody new and you look in the eyes, you feel anxiety, and you feel like he's judging you and you're judging him, because you don't know each other yet. So, but when you walk, like dating a walk, you don't see the eyes. The amygdala is lower, and you start to really share what your thoughts. That's what we do when we walk, and not look in the other people's eye. And if there is a sunny day, it's better in the sun to do it in nature. And very relaxed. We don't want to impress. We just want to know another person in this world. I believe that everyone is interesting, so interesting. And even if nothing will come out of this, because I think it can't be a yes or no. Either it will be long-term relationship or we don't see each other again ever. I look at the dating apps as a way to enlarge the circles of friends. So if you meet somebody nice, you said, wow, it's nice to be with this guy. So maybe I will meet his friends and maybe we do things together. And maybe I will invite him and some couple of friends to my house to have dinner. Maybe nothing will come out of it. But I open my heart. I meet new people. I was open to, and maybe something will happen. I was sitting here with my loving partner, love of my life, that dedication, and we met in circle of friends. Like his friend I met in a dating app, and then we stayed friends. And the friend suggested that we will go for a trip in nature in the desert. And he bought this nice guy, and then from then on we are together. So it's to open up, to
You mentioned also sorry, the butterfly feeling on the first date is not necessarily a requirement for successful partnership, right?
yes, it's very interesting because we have this myth. We have many myths about love, but one of the myths is like love at first sight. And there is no love at first sight. Biologically, there can't be love at first sight because love takes time. You need to release the oxytocin. You need to talk and talk and talk and be with each other and touch. And when you see someone for the first time, you cannot love him. So 10% of people say that they knew it was it on the first date. 90% say no. 50% of couples that have good relationships said that it was no in first sight. There was no attraction at all. So if we tell ourselves that
Open mind.
to be more open-minded and not to say no for the first time when you see a person, because we are anxious, and at first time what we have is sexual attraction. The amygdala, this area of emotion management, risk management basically of the brain, looks at the person, gets the information, and in 30 seconds it decides yes or no. But what yes or no? Yes or no for sex, because this is what the brain is for now in a female and male, or even in the same in homosexual relationship. It's the same. It's just a play of these hormones. But you see a person, and the brain said, "It's good or not. I would, or I would not." It's not love. You don't have to love somebody in order to have sexual relationships. So sex and love is not the same. So when we said we knew for the first time, so it means that the brain said, "Okay, I would do it." We are unconscious to it, but it takes the brain 30 seconds to decide if we want to continue or not to continue. So sometimes people said, "I was not attracted to him on the first date, so we never met again." And this is a mistake, because we need to give chance for oxytocin, because once we know a person, when we start to create this hormones, this oxytocin hormone also generates the feeling of euphoria, and you see the person differently after you know him for a while. Suddenly he become more attractive. Suddenly he become more nice, and you know him. So if he's a loving heart, he has a good heart. Suddenly he looks to you different than on the first. So it's all in our eyes, and it's all the hormones, and it's all in the brain. So we should not say no at the beginning. Give a chance. It can be also otherwise, that you find someone very attractive, and then you know him, and he's not good person, and suddenly he looks ugly. He doesn't look anymore that attractive. So it's all in our brain.
You got a question?
Hi. So a little bit confused here. I'm up into the idea that you need to get to know somebody, but that's if you've gone on the side of yes, I would pursue something.
I will give it a chance.
Physical. So you're sort of saying 50-50, but it's like just at the kind of physical level, you could sort of think, you could imagine yourself with them.
No. Also, even if you're not attracted,
Yeah.
if you're somewhere, it's still interesting, but you're not sure. The point is, it might still be something. If you feel strongly it's not right, that's probably not right. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
But if you're somewhere you're not that sure, you're not that excited. Like, the point is, maybe like when you got to know them, you might feel different. There still is. It might be worth keeping open mind. And that, you said in the book, from what I understood, that half of long-term marriages that succeeded, that both couples said that your date didn't have that butterfly feeling in the beginning. It was just nice, but it wasn't that kind of like wow, And then so you don't necessarily have to have the wow, perhaps, in order to have a beautiful, loving, successful long-term relationship.
Yeah, I have heard that.
Yeah. Usually the butterflies will be when insecure meets an insecure. Yeah. Suddenly you get this, but I have to be with this person, and it will be very tragic and will end with tears. So don't trust don't always trust our gut feeling. The gut feeling can lead us to wrong places.
It's
Yeah,
like we say,
the brain
it's
in the gut.
the butterfly feeling you feel, it's tryptophan that is digested, and you actually feel like it's a real thing, right?
Yes.
It's another brain, you're saying.
The second brain, the first brain is here, the second brain is in the gut, the third brain is in the heart. So, but the gut is 500 million neurons.
More than
the guts
the
themselves.
heart, by far.
Yeah, more than the heart by far. And 90% of serotonin is produced in our gut. So happiness is food, basically. First is makes us most happy.
Yeah,
is
we
food.
know.
That's why it's very important to eat the good stuff. And the gut feeling is a real sensation that we feel in the gut. It's the serotonin levels goes up and down when you see somebody. But the gut feeling can take us also to repeat mistakes because the gut is activated by familiarity. You know, it's familiar to me, so maybe it's good for me. But here our rational brain need to come, the conscious brain. Say, okay, I heard the gut brain, but now I will decide because I know that the last time that this gut feeling took me there, it wasn't so good. So maybe I will overcome this gut feeling and work from this area of the brain, and sometimes learn to.
Course correct.
Yeah, so sometimes we fall in love with narcissistic people, and this ends usually very, very bad. So if we feel this gut feeling that this guy is good for me, but I already know to identify the signs. So only from this area I can identify the red lights.
Red flags.
That will lead me to have a conscious decision that maybe I feel these butterflies, but this is not good for me. Okay, so when I see these behaviors, it's not good for me. And maybe I don't need to trust my gut feeling all the time, my intuition. And in another example, if I had a lot of heartbreaks in life, so the gut feeling will be, this is not good for me, this is not the one for me, but it's because our nervous system, its role is to prevent pain, to prevent us from feeling negative emotions. Even in the price that we won't feel love and good emotions. It's for survival, it's not to feel bad, not to feel pain. So the gut feeling would say he's not for me because I don't want my heart to be broken again, and then I will stay alone. Alone is the best for a person who had traumatized by relationship. So also not trust the gut feeling if you had a few sequence of not so good relationships, because it will tell you not one is not good for you, and this one is not good for you, and this one is not good for you, and best to be alone in order not to feel pain again, even in the price of not feeling happiness.
A question and an observation. The question is back to this idea of the brain in the gut or the brain in the heart. I want to understand evolutionarily what is the logic for that concentration of neurons, and why would it make sense to, for example, have the evolutionarily to have this feeling of heartbreak? And then an observation was really interesting. The young lady's question about fake until you make it. It reminded me of Durkheim. You know that there's this relationship between ritual and belief. Ritual causes belief, and belief causes ritual. Just an observation, wondering how you could talk about that relative to love.
Okay, what do you mean by ritual make?
Well, I'm just quoting Durkheim's famous thesis that it's engaging in the rituals of religion that can cause belief in religion. The mere act of doing observance.
The egg and the chicken.
Yeah, so which came first?
Generate what?
Yeah, so it's a great question, but what we know about emotion is that you start certain behaviors and you get these sensations maybe from a very early age, and then so you become somewhat addicted to the hormone, and then the behavior will make you, your thoughts will make you to generate more of this hormone. So let's say I grew up in a very pessimistic house, you know, everything can go wrong and all the time will be miserable and people hurt, like my mother used to say, you know, the world is very harsh, nothing will work. So I, from early age, very accused to feeling sensations of cortisol, you know, that the world is a dangerous place. We become a bit addicted, so this will become your belief system. The world is a dark place. You need to be scared. You need to all the time plan for the worst. And we'd be totally different if I would grow up with in a house was very optimistic and see the bright side of everything. And you grow up with this belief system. So all our belief system are rooted in the hormones that we used to feel and secrete when we were young. So you become, it's familiar, these feelings is familiar for you. So you all the time try to find dramas in the life, you know, in your life and how people treated you bad. This become the belief system. So it's.
I mean, also, I wanted to, maybe you could, you want to ask a question? Go
Yeah.
for it, sure.
So how can you improve your attachment style if you know, like, that you've got anxious attachment, for example? How can you improve that?
Yes. So first, awareness is the first. 50% is awareness, but the awareness alone will not treat it. It will not fix it. First, you start with not choosing avoidant partner. You know that you will be more attracted to him by literature and by research. So don't go with the gut feeling that will lead you to avoidance. So this is the first thing, to look for secure personality. But most of it will be self, working on yourself. I recommend every person that see some insecure attachment style behaviors to take therapy. You need to go back to the trauma. You need to go back to the events that created these attachment styles and work on it and feel the emotions and do this work of healing. Yeah, healing is needed in order to move on and to make better choices. And then during the relationship, to try to understand.
So when you say the events, do you mean in childhood or in relationships?
In childhood or relationships. It can be rooted in our childhood or first relationships. That the first time that we felt love, what happened? So maybe if I felt in love and the guy cheated on me, it started to create an insecure attachment because there was an insecurity there, and it depends, of course, of my interpretation of what happened. Yes, so one of the patterns that can become after such a trauma is like all men will cheat you eventually, so you cannot trust anyone. So insecure behavior will be when you will be with a person. If you will talk with someone else, your brain, it will be a great trigger. You feel the jealousy inside, and there will be a drama. And sooner or later the other partner will be aparted from you from the person because it's hard feelings, you know, to all the time try to keep the relationship and help someone with these insecurities. So becoming aware of my behaviors, of how because in the minute that you have this insecure moment, when the trigger comes, you know, and it will come. There are always triggers in a relationship, and you feel the anxiety. And what will I do now? Yeah. So, but the healing can be only in a relationship. We born in a relationship. We are wounded in a relationship, and we heal in a relationship. This Harvey Hendricks couple consultant. He has a
whole series of books on love.
yeah. He wrote a book on attachment. So we heal in a relationship, but only when we are conscious of the behaviors that we know that repeat in
What about self-love?
Yeah.
Is the biology the same? Because we're talking a lot about relationship, but we all come down always to the, this relationship with ourselves. So is the biology the same? Does it work in the same way?
No, oxytocin is only with another creature. It can be with the dog, the pet. Pets is very good also for teaching the system again to. They secrete a lot of oxytocin, but self-love is a different. It's basically about dopamine and serotonin. To be happy with myself, to be happy with my life. Oxytocin is only with another person, another creature on Earth. We can get this hormone just by social interaction. But it's very good that you mentioned the self-love, because it is one, again, of the remedy for insecure attachment. When you start to work on your self-esteem, of your self-worth, because if I was grew up in an abusive family or abusive parent, my self-esteem is not high, and I came to the world with a lot of insecurities. So one of the things is work on my self value and my self-esteem. It's not easy. It takes a lot of because of this imprinting period. Our emotional systems are developed by the age of 5, and we go with it in life. But everything can be changed and healed and worked, and we develop all the time, so we can be upgraded.
That does mention, we're going to, in the book, a few examples of how, upbringing and imprinting can, trump like biology. She gives examples of studies with different species being raised with another species, and then being attracted to that species and unattracted to their own, and all these amazing things.
It's very strong, the imprinting period.
Yeah. You say that, but then you also talk about how you need another nervous system to relax, like you said, whether it's a pet or whatever. But this idea that as I say in the book, but we know that for humans the cruelest punishment you can have is solitary confinement. That will although you do mention in the book, there's so much wisdom. You say there are these few weird. There's always a spectrum, right? There's always differences, and there are some people out there that do seem to feel okay, that could be asexual and can be very happy, and there are examples in history of such people. Apparently Isaac Newton supposedly was one of them. Adam Smith. There's
we
several.
don't know if they were happy.
Yeah, that's true. But that's true. At least
They
they were.
must be geniuses.
Yes, well,
They're
they're able
happy.
to. Well, you do say there's a connection between autism and asexuality as well.
They both stayed with their mothers.
Yeah, Adam Smith was raised by his mother until the age of 40. I don't know. She was, but we need attachment, obviously.
I think even if you're asexual, you feel love, and the whole
Of
thing
course,
is
of
just
course.
about
Exactly.
sexuality.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Couple love with our relatives and extended family.
Yeah, very important. Very
as well
important.
as
It's oxytocin. Yes.
landscapes or experiences.
No.
No.
Just another nervous system.
Okay.
So family and friends and family bonds are the strongest. The genes are behind this machine, and we are programmed to be more attached to people from our family that we have shared genes.
Although you do give the example also of the Westermark effect. You want to share where you become less attracted to people that you are raised with.
Yeah.
Because it's a sort of anti-incest mechanism. Talk about that as well.
Yes.
So you don't like your siblings?
Yeah.
No, not sexually, basically. Love, yes, but there's some sort of repulsive sexual nature, right?
In all animal kingdom, when you grow up with someone, in humans it's until the age of 6, you become sexually revolted by. It's basically anti-incest mechanism, but you get the oxytocin, you get the love, and we know that in cultures that has strong, extensive family and strong family bonds, people are more relaxed or happy because they have the family, and the whole tribe is happier. The strongest predictor for longevity in humans is relationships, and more than relationship is social integration. So the community, how much we talk with people that are not the immediate family, the nuclear family, and how many relationships we have with neighbors and friends and people, even with God. You know, God is also oxytocin, although it's not a real nervous system and creature, but when you feel that someone look for you, look after you, there is order, spirituality, to feel connected to something that is bigger than us and something that is guiding us and protecting us, like a good father or good mother in heaven. So basically, we need to feel protected and to feel a strong community.
What about monogamy? You didn't touch that.
Oh my God. Okay, that's true.
That's
Let's talk about
important.
monogamy. Yeah, let's talk about the Coolidge effect. And actually, and looking at monogamy, explain also the Coolidge effect, and also maybe what we know about fantasies, sexual fantasies, what they tell us about our nature.
And if it is natural, if monogamy is natural,
That's
if
fair.
you were biologically
No.
made for husband, that's what I thought.
Yeah. We are not. There are criteria for polygamous creatures, species, and monogamous, and we are not qualified for the monogamous. We have the men have the biggest testicles in relation to body size, the biggest penis in relation to
Which
body size.
correlates with species being less monogamous.
Less monogamous, because there is a lot of sperm competition. A female can have many males, so he has a sperm competition, he needs big balls. So we have big balls. Testicles are bigger in women.
Apparently, it was something like 80% of a man's sperm is designed to block the sperm of another man.
So, sorry, what does that mean?
It means that we qualify for the polygamist, that the male compete with each other and the female wants the alpha male. Male compete also. In monogamist species, the male and the female look the same size, the same. And in polygamist, the males are bigger, usually with decoration, and also in humans, men are bigger, 15% in average than women, because of the testosterone. So we are not qualified for the monogamy.
But hold on.
The institution
Yes.
of marriage.
Yes, and hold on. You're saying yes, it's still possible, right?
Yeah. So
Doesn't make sense.
basically,
It's very new.
we are biologically not
Well,
our
sir-
biology doesn't support it, but the biology of sexual biology, let's say, okay, but the evolution of oxytocin makes us want to belong, want to be attached. So this is what the benefits of monogamy for humans. It gives us the opportunity to be attached with one person deeply, to make an emotional bond, security, to have security, social security, and financial security with the one person, strong attachment, predictability, stability. You know what to expect. You will come home at this hour, you will do 1, 2, 3, and then you go to sleep, and tomorrow again. We lack predictability, stability, and security. But we pay the price, when we are in a monogamy, we pay the price of excitement, because we have this circuit of the brain, the Coolidge effect, the cheating effect.
Well, the loss of desire, over time. For the same
You cannot
partner.
desire something that you have. So you start a
You can,
relationship,
but less.
you want to be with the person every day. Love is composed of attraction phase and then infatuation stage, that you fall in love and you have adrenaline, serotonin, and dopamine mainly, and then it goes down between 6 hours and 2 years. It will go down.
6 hours.
It's a big.
Of infatuation phase, and then the monogamy, the attachment. This is where we fall most of us, how much we can hold on, because there is no dopamine anymore, much less, because the person is predictable and
Hold
stable.
on. There are like these. You mentioned rituals earlier. There's in Judaism we have the nidah ritual, which can maintain attraction. If you want to explain that for a sec?
Yes, but so basically, when you get the same, when you get the same stimulus over time, it happens to us in everything. Yeah, when you get the same stimulus over time, you develop tolerance and starting to be bored. Yeah,
Right.
if you eat pizza every day, you will be bored of it. So it happens in other also, but in sex is very strong, because this is the mission of the genes. They want us to spread. Yeah, more variation. Variation is good for genetics. So we are not the only creature that cheat. Cheating is most common and unspoken phenomena in humans, and it's based on this circuit. So in monogamy, we have this tension between the need of security and bonding and long life relationship and the stability, and the excitement, the need for curiosity, to meet new people, to be with new people, to have this, again, the feeling of butterflies in the belly, and to be touched by a new person, to feel all these sensations that you don't feel anymore with the same guy. So this is the tension that we live in it.
Is it related to testosterone, like cheating?
Testosterone and dopamine likes each other. When testosterone goes up, dopamine goes up. So the Coolidge effect, this effect that the stimulus goes down with the same.
Not all animals have it. Some animals.
The monogamists don't have it.
The prairie voles, they don't lose any sexual.
The real monogamists in nature, which are very few, it's rare. Monogamy is rare in the animal kingdom. Because it's evolutionary, unstable. It's not good for the genes. The genes wants to combine with others, as many as possible. So,
although you do say, like, the more dangerous the environment, the more monogamy you find for the species, because it's a way to have safety.
Secure.
Yes, the more dangerous if you have a lot of enemies and not enough food, and how much investment the offspring need. When the offspring need a lot of investment, like in the birds, you have the eggs. Somebody has to be with the eggs, they sit on the eggs, and the mother goes to bring food, and then they change. But also in the monogamist birds, 30 to 40% of the eggs is not of the father that sit on them. The swans with the heart that they make and all this love from the swans, 40% of the eggs is not of the male. So they cheat on each other all the time, which is an adaptation. You want to secure the nest, not to harm the nest, but still, not put all the eggs in one basket, to have something from outside. So we see it all around the animal kingdom, this phenomena. So we can, and the investments of the offspring. So when the offspring needs a lot of investment, and in humans, the kids can be at home until the age of 30. So you need a lot of investment. So that's why monogamy, I think, developed. Of course, the Roman had something to do with the Roman Christianity and all the religion.
So this was the idea that apparently, you had a lot of polygamy before, but the idea was that there are different types of way to structure society, control.
And it flourished.
Yeah.
It flourished in the Middle East area and Africa. Still there is polygamy. But when the Roman came, they abolished polygamy. They said one man, one wife, and when you put the man with one wife, mortgage and 3 children, he will not make problems to the empire. He will be very submissive. And this is how it flourished. And now we see the problem with monogamy. We see it shaking, because religion is not anymore strong, and people can decide. And the basic thing that happened is the feminist movement. From the moment women can choose for their own and have their own money and land and the children, she can take the children. Most of the divorce cases are initiated by women, like 70%. From the age of 50, it's 90% women. Men are catatonic at this stage. They don't want to any change. I blame the hormones, because when the estrogens of the woman, is very decreased after the menopause, she will stop satisfying and pleasing others. It's now her time. She doesn't want to please anyone anymore. So I think that there is something to do with hormones in this stage for women, that you look at him and you said, no, I don't want this anymore. Enough is enough. So now we see monogamy shaking. The boat is shaking. That's why I feel my obligation to the world is to talk about the biology. And if we understand that we are not monogamist in nature, but we still want, let's say, basically serial monogamy, one at a time. Yeah, we are not fully monogamist, one at a time, but at least have fulfilling, good relationship as long as possible, understand our biology, and only then we can.
Well, let's be clear. You do say that after some serial monogamy, eventually you could just be like, I'm kind of tired of this. I found someone good. That could be it, right?
Yeah. Of course, yes. And also another benefit of monogamy. We're not healthy and young and beautiful for life. And when something happens, sometimes you got sick or you need help. And if you don't have a bond that you invested in this bond for life, emotional bond, nobody will take care of you. So also this we understand as humans, that it's not only sex and drugs in the brain, but you need somebody to take care of you, and you to take care of, and it will happen only if you are invested in each other. So this way we have this discussion now, monogamy, maybe amonogamy. If we're not sometimes people go from out of my lecture when I lecture about this subject, said, you just prove that we are not monogamist in nature. So why you are preaching for monogamy? Let's open relationships. Monogamish. Monogamish. Amonogamy, consensual amonogamy, open relationships, polyamory. There are different flavors of like not the traditional monogamous. And my opinion on that is that okay, there is benefits for this order, social order, or choice. We are free to choose. Basically, and there is no one size fits all. Some people need more excitements in life. But I think the benefits of monogamy is worth working on and worth putting investment, because for the long run we see that people that live in good relationships are happier, are healthier, live longer, because we need this attachment. And when we bring other people into our bond, all the insecurities will come. Because jealousy, we have this feeling of jealousy. When we see our beloved partner with another, it's supposed to make us feel jealous. It's evolutionary, of course, logic, because you will leave me and start to play, to make all this oxytocin with another. So sometimes people make rules, you cannot sleep with each other only one time in a month. Yeah, there are many, like it's like a game, it's like going to a restaurant, but I think that there is no rules for the brain, and once you open relationship, things can happen, and there are other brains in the system. We hardly control our own brain, so how we will control others? Sometimes someone can come and say, I fell in love with her, and that's it. The relationship is over, so you need to be very careful.
We've gone way over, so
Yeah.
I will say there's still so much more.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't touched on it. We'll stop a sec there, but I mean, there's a whole section about how fantasies change based on the societal structure, and everything. I mean, even to
Children, what
what happens with kids? Yeah,
What happens when kids get into the system?
So there's so much, and I think it's a good book. And we didn't even touch. I mean, there's this crazy stuff. You'll see it in the book about like epigenetics, where apparently because men keep creating sperm and women don't. The eggs don't change that much. There's also how like apparently sperm can encode new information. Life, there's certain thing in there. There's a crazy experiment in here that if you read about it, I think you'll be blown away.